Okay, I've got 10 o'clock. I'm gonna
Recording
call
in
the meeting to
progress.
order and thank everyone for being here. And since we don't have any guests, we don't have any introduction made, but Matt, why don't you introduce yourself? And is it Amanda? Amanda, why don't y'all introduce yourself to the group so everybody know who you are?
Sure. Hi, my name is Matt Ford. I'm the new chief counsel for the Department of Agriculture. So happy to be here. I've been here for about a month now. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, Amanda Andrews, attorney for the department, and I've been here since April. So,
Well, glad you're here. Okay, the first order of business, we do have a quorum. Is the meeting minutes from our last meeting on July the 11th. They were emailed and are in your packet. I'll entertain a motion for their approval.
Right, motion to approve as presented.
Thank you. Second by John. Any questions or discussion or corrections? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Okay, Tom, gonna ask you to I'll call it start with the registry part. Okay. Have a slide up there. I wanted to show you some of the new things that we have going for the registered forester. This is our new registered forester homepage. You can get there by going to the Forestry Commission and dropping down to the registered forestry committee. If you look in that tan box, there's a couple of highlight or bolded words, and one of them says to renew your license, you'll need to log in. And to log in means that our IT department has really knocked it out of the park. I want to give them some very good praise. We've created a new database for the registered foresters. It's a web-based application, and you can actually, as that says, renew online. You can log in there, see your account, upload your continuing ed hours. And it just gives you a lot of personal time. You can do it on your own and not have to mail it in. It's going to help the department out where we're not having to mail out reminders and mail in or take in the renewals and do all of that. So that's one thing that we're really excited about. So I will turn it over to Mr. McAlpine. He was our acting chair at our committee meeting.
On October the 6th, the committee met. All the members were present except for David Cowan. He was unable to make that. We reviewed applications we had. 3 of them we were giving, felt they met requirements to take the exam. There's 2 of them that we will put in front of the commission for a reciprocity license. Daniel DeArnold and Joseph Simpson have met all the requirements for reciprocal licenses, and I'll make a motion as part of that. We can probably do all of one here. We want to issue 1 new license to Michael Kitchens that meets the requirements. He's taking an exam in Alabama and meets the requirements from Auburn. And those are the 3 that we're put in front of the commission as a motion to issue licenses to those 3.
So just so we got the motion right, we're asking to approve reciprocity for 2 that have applied and approve a new license from someone that has met the qualifications in y'all's opinion, as I understand.
Correct. That is correct. That is the motion.
We have the names of
It's Daniel DeArnold. He's a professor at UAM. Joseph Simpson. Both of those are reciprocal, and Michael Kitchens would be the other one that meets the requirements for a new license.
Okay.
And it's
So we got a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any questions?
Do we have official agreements with other states for reciprocity?
our law. There's not agreements with the other states for reciprocity. But our statute states that if they meet the requirements here,
Okay.
and that state has similar requirements, we can offer a reciprocity license. The states have not been able to agree. Part of it is under statute.
Mhm.
We don't have the authority to sign a reciprocity license. So it's if a state meets those requirements.
I think there's 15 states in the nation that do registered foresters licensing.
Okay.
And we have reciprocity, I think with 12 or 13, there's a couple that we don't.
And one of the key things is that you have to take an exam. If these states require your passage of an exam. We've been able to reciprocate.
So some other items that the committee.
Wait. We got a motion,
Yes.
got a second? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Okay, now you.
Sorry about that, I jumped ahead. Some of the other items that we took, that we established was the 26 testing dates. We set those for May the 25th or February the 25th, May the 13th, October the 7th, or December the 16th of 2026. We did also discuss the ASBORF meeting, which is the Association of Southern Boards of Registration for Foresters. We're hosting that meeting in 2026. We started Kyle and I and Max are going to work on planning that meeting for next year.
John, you might tell them why we're gonna be working on Max.
Yes, we're looking at probably working on tying that to the next year's AFA meeting, probably on the front end of that meeting. Because some of these folks come from other states, it helps them. Some of them have to pay personally out of their own pocket to come to the ASBORF meeting that sit on these other boards. So we're trying to get it where they might join us at the AFA and have other opportunities. And I'm going to mention this, but we're going to table any action on it until the elections. The committee would like to add Scott Meek from Greenback Packaging as a committee member to fulfill the obligations that under the last session. But we'll table that to sit the vote on that until later.
And Mary Cloud.
And Mary Cloud, yeah. The annual license audits is we were working with Society of American Foresters to be able to go in and audit the CE that's been reported during the renewal process, and working through an audit process in the new database to randomly pull those and do the audits on the CE. And the civil penalty matrix is still in review at the Department of Ag, so there's nothing that the committee has to bring to front of the commission on at this time.
We'll have that at the January. Should be finalized.
And that is the summary of my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, Kyle.
Okay, first, there's a couple of kids coming in. So I say yes, Secretary Ward and Alex Johnston came in. Welcome. All right, so we're on the foresters for the future.
Correct.
Okay. So, a month or so ago, I met with Dr. Blazier and the faculty at UAM. And I want to thank them for working with us on this Foresters for the Future scholarship. We currently have 3 of the 4 slots filled. We take 1 applicant each year and provide them with a scholarship to attend the College of Forestry at UAM. This year's recipient is Noah Toddy, and Noah is from Camden, Arkansas. He actually interned during high school with us at our Camden office, so he's familiar with the forestry division, and hopefully after his degree, he'll come back to work for us. But he's a nice young man, and he has a bright future ahead of him. He's a freshman this fall at UAM, and he has a test today, or he would have been here to join us. So I've invited him to come to the January meeting so he can meet the committee. That's it on the board.
Okay, Billy. How are you today?
Good, Bill, how you doing, sir?
Better not to say.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. First and foremost, thanks for having me. Thanks, Al, for inviting me to speak. So what I want to do this morning is just kind of give you an overview of what law enforcement's done the last fiscal year and what we've done currently this last quarter. So we do have some new commissioners in here who probably see me sitting back there every meeting and say, what is that guy doing back there?
With a gun.
With a gun. the new commissioners in here, the story behind us is we started out as a forestry group, and then in 2018, Secretary Ward expanded our role into all of agriculture. So now we not only take care of forestry, we take care of the rest of the agriculture department too. So this next slide is going to show you, first and foremost, I always want to brag on my guys because they're head and shoulders above any other officers in the state, in my opinion. And you see the area they cover. So they cover quite extensive area. So they stay on the road every day somewhere, doing crimes around the state. But this is kind of busy, but this is the report that I keep, and it kind of shows the different cases we work in the totals. The last row over here is where I really want to point your attention, because that's the totals for the whole fiscal year 2025. As you see, we worked 315 criminal cases that year. 61 of those were timber. The fire, we only had 20 fires that we actually investigated. And when we say investigated fire, that's actually where we go out and actually do an origin and cause and actually lay boots on the ground and try to figure out how that fire started. And then dumping is 9 cases we had. So that's the cases we opened. The big number I want to point out down at the bottom is $3.2 million. That's the restitution and recovered stolen property that my guys got back last year for the state of Arkansas, for the citizens of the state of Arkansas. Of that number, 3.2, the question naturally from y'all will be, how much of that was forestry? Right at $350,000 was forestry timber that we recovered and got back to the landowners.
And Billy, just to clarify, is that money received or is that money that's to be received?
That's money, that it can be both, but that's usually by court order that's it's been issued back to the victim. Now, sometimes.
You don't get paid back.
That's right.
I'm a victim of that.
Right. Yes, sir, you are. I know exactly what you're talking about. Exactly what case you're talking about.
So you don't have money, you can't get it.
And if they're in jail, you can't get any money from them.
But on paper, it looks good. No, but 350,000 is what that was. And that's actually 350,000 out of 3.2. That's not a lot of money on the end, but as Mr. Dillon is alluding to, and we'll talk about it on the last slide, timber is really, we got to control them now. So that's good. The lower the number, the better. If I could get that 3.2 down to 100,000, I would do it every year. It doesn't look on paper for me, but it looks good that we're doing our job and it's working there. So, and this is current last quarter. So already this year, we've worked 12 timber cases. The big number I want to look at here is fire. We've already worked 12. 20 last year, we've already worked 12 this year. So we do have an arsonist working in South Arkansas that we're trying to get a hold of. We're trying to get that under control. But of course, arson's hard to, they're hard to convict because they're weather dependent, just like us, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes they can burn, sometimes they can't. So you can't get a good track on them. So, and we've recovered $671,000 so far this year. And this is a slide I thought I wanted to talk to you about, as we've alluded to. We've really got a hold on it. As you see, with 2021 being the exception, from 2022 all the way to the current, timber cases have fallen off. And that's what we want to see. We want to see those timber cases falling off. And we don't see the big cases like we do back in the day, Mr. Dillon, when you're talking, when we used to talk about $1 million cases. Most of these cases are going to be small failure pays or cutovers. But that number going down is a good thing. And I'd like to say that's because we made some examples out of people, sent some people to jail. But I think that's got to do with several different things. So we have made some good cases and we made some examples out of some people that sent them to jail. But we've educated the public on how to do timber and what they're supposed to do. And we've also, big props to industry because they've really come up on their security and their oversight. When back in the day, it wasn't uncommon for me to go to industry and have it. They had several $1 million worth of timber stolen, but they'd be working off 10-year crews and everyone knows undercut, but didn't raise no red flags. So they've really got that under control now. So industry's really stepped up. So with that, I'll take any questions you got.
Well, I just want to make a comment. I happen to know Billy personally, because he and I got to spend a lot of time together. This was up in Heber Springs. We had severe timber theft issue up there. And trying to get somebody interested in your problem is hard. I'm not talking about any of our other law enforcement folks, but they got other criminals they're chasing, to be honest with you. And in this case, all that got killed was a tree or stolen. This man is the man that's to help you. And you can't find a better professional and his team to go do that work and diligent about it. And we convicted him.
We did.
And because of him and the work that he did. So I just, I would encourage you to make sure that people that you know that this resource is there. Because this is true professional law enforcement, and these are that he's trying to stop and persecute. So,
Yes, sir. I thank you for that.
What method of notification to people, do we have any way to notify mills and places like that who's been prosecuted in this process?
Usually if the mills are involved in it, they know.
I know the mill is, but I'm talking about for a mill that's not involved in it. You know, it's just like me, for instance, I got some mill. I need to know who the crooks are.
Right.
And if you don't have some kind of a publication that lets the other mills know who not to deal with, we need to get that out there in some form or fashion. And I don't know the legality of that either, but I've been on this case for a long time, ever since I was on the Force Commission, and if they ain't got a place to sell it, they're not gonna steal it.
That's right.
And so but the people that are buying it need to know who have been prosecuted.
You know,
Yeah, so that's so we need to get that done some way or another.
yes, sir. That's hard to do from law enforcement perspective because we would be, we can't run somebody down to somebody else. I can't, because you've been convicted of something, I can't tell somebody not to deal with you. That would get me sued. That would get me
So
sued.
they tell them not to deal with it,
Right.
they just need to know they've been prosecuted.
well, in the case that, in the case that we were dealing with, this is Delta Timber Corporation. FBI is involved, Billy's involved, is over $1 billion talking about. And to get the press to get interested in that case, that's how you find out is if these were covered by the press and they've got other things they're covering too.
And if it's $10,000, they're not gonna.
They're not gonna do it, but it was even hard to get any publicity associated with that, as big as that case was.
Well, let's,
Yours was 13 million in 10 years is what it was.
Yeah.
let's go ahead
I
and put
didn't
our,
want to know that,
our
but-
legal counsel on the spot here. What do you think? Can we do that type thing?
To be honest, I would not be prepared to answer that, here, but we would just have to look into that, but.
Sure.
Yeah,
Well, you know
I
what?
wouldn't have a good answer
there-
on the spot, so.
Yeah, I kind of have reservations both ways. There's other states that, not with timber theft, but with arson, not really arson either. Someone that say they burned during a burn ban and it caused a big fire and some damage. There's some states that will actually do social media posts and put their picture out there and all this stuff, and I don't know if I really want us doing that, but this is a little different.
It just, the mills that buy the timber need to know who have been prosecuted somewhere or another. If you can do that, you'll reduce that number better.
We'll get legal to look at that, see if we.
Some cities post speeding tickets and other things.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of
It's
like,
public,
Yeah.
it's public information.
it's public information. And, Billy, where would this be filed at the county level?
Usually, yes, sir, it would be filed, depending on the case, depending on if it's a felony or a misdemeanor case, would be either circuit clerk or the county clerk.
So the way to get it, I'll call it, rather than getting this group off the hook from being the one that quote tells, rats on everybody, the county, if all you gotta do is get them to add that to their police report. And then you
I'm not
say who
disagreeing
reads,
with you. I
then you,
think that's a
then you
good
say
thing.
who reads it, and then you start reading it to it.
Sometimes mill operators don't read those things, but they need, the specific timber theft needs to be, they need to get some kind of some publication or presentation or when somebody is, it needs to be, go to all the people that buy the product to those people.
What we can do is have legal look into if we're
Yeah.
capable of doing it. Well, and then the second thing we would look
That
at,
needs to be done.
if they do see where we can, second question would be, does it come from law enforcement or from forestry?
Yeah.
And so we would need to look at that, but we can do that.
Well, thank you, Billy.
Yes, sir.
And I hope we continue to do this, periodically.
Sure.
That's good. Okay, Mr. Jim. How you doing?
Yeah.
Doing great. Morning, everybody. Wanted to start out with the seedling inventory at Balcom. We're almost finished with our inventory. We've got about 5% of the sample plots left to take. And so, you've got a report in your, under tab 3 of your binder. And it should be really close to what we got out there, considering the number of plots we've got left. So, there were approximately 2.9 million pine and 5.1 million hardwoods inventory. And, we've received 859,000 orders for pine and 5.48 million for the hardwoods. If you look at these pictures, these were taken using a drone. And they were taken from the north part of Balcom, and they're facing south. But it shows that we've got real well-defined roads, and if you look closely, you can see that all these are pretty much uniform height. So they've been doing a real good job of controlling the weeds, and also they've top pruned, which helps in several ways on seedlings. And you'll notice there in the right there, we've got plastic out, and we just completed a methyl bromide fumigation. And this order, we were informed that the contractor that does the fumigation is gonna phase out the application of methyl bromide. And that's important because that's the only contractor we have for methyl bromide. And so the plans are for them is to train our people in how to apply the methyl bromide, and then supply the materials, and then help us get equipment if we choose to continue with methyl bromide. But methyl bromide is important because it means that we can produce quality seedlings and enough of them too without mortality.
Why is he phasing it out?
Not sure.
It's cost and overhead. So they're based out of North Carolina. The other company is in California. They're the only two that do it. And they basically drew a radius and said, if you're outside of 500 miles or some number, we can't afford to come out there anymore. A lot of the nurseries are outside that loop. So they're wanting to train nurseries to do it themselves, and they supply the material. Are you gonna talk about the alternatives?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go there. But we are looking at a lot of them.
So we're gonna look at different ways of doing this, and methyl bromide is still on the table. And then for our people to do it, and then we've looked at other chemicals, liquids, that can be injected in the soil, and it's similar process. You put it under plastic, and it keeps it for a certain amount of time. And also we're looking at combining various methods as well. And
Jim, I assume we put this up to sterilize the soil to get the soil seedbed ready for planting, so.
yes, sir. So the primary purpose is for pathogens.
Okay.
And you've got nematodes and fungi. Those are the two big ones that we got to control, and they attack the root systems, of course.
Okay.
And that can't be dealt with once you get the crop.
Because the pathogens is the main thing, does it have anything with noxious weeds or anything else?
Right. It's to kill weeds, but there's some window to control them after the plants come up, but we're hoping, you hope you get all those things with the methyl bromide.
With this, you're doing seed head treatments, so the seeds that are in the soil working on it. So, it helps with the plants, but like Jim was saying, the big thing is with more of the microbial things.
Would it be more important for pine or hardwood, or both? Hardwood, okay, I figured.
You cannot grow hardwood without sterilizing the soil.
Well, then don't be methyl bromide or something else.
So one of the alternatives we looked into, and this was, found out by, researching through AI, artificial intelligence. And, we discovered a process that, solarization. And the way it works is you spread plastic out during the hot time of the year and in hopes of heating up the soil and sterilizing everything in there. And
Cooking.
that's right, cooking them, and giving the soil a fever. But the AI said that what you're shooting for is to heat up the soil to 104 degrees at 6 inches depth. And so we put out a test and we were measuring at 8 inches and we were getting 120 degrees. So we're thinking this could work. And so the way we're gonna test that is, we're gonna send some samples from this plot that we've laid out to an agri lab and see what's in our soil after we've given it a
But
chance.
you'd have to lay out that area, so.
Yes,
So
right.
it
You got it.
reduces your amount of acreage you have.
No, we were, it'll still be
We rotate, so there's fields that aren't planted every year.
Okay, yeah, you don't plant everything every, okay.
We do about 50 acres a year planted.
Gotcha.
All right, so in August, we started clearing that restoration area, the 30.5 acres that we were mentioning earlier this year. And we started out with using bush hogs, and that was to get the small stuff. And then we brought in the heavy mechanized division, the excavator and bulldozers. And that excavator is very large, about 41,000 pounds. And it was primarily to knock down the trees in the sawtooth oak orchard. They were pretty good sized trees. And we used rangers for operators, and these guys were highly skilled. They knew how to do the excavators already, and as well as the dozers, because they did that all the time. But they were very good, and they did a good job. It took about a month because of weather and that type of thing. But we got it cleared, and we've got it piled. And I wanted to show you some pictures as it progressed. This was in March, and the top left, and that was after our prescribed fire. And then the bottom left was right after we used the bush hog. And then this is what it looks like 8 days ago. We've done some burning on the piles and that type of activity. So after the piles are burned and we get as much off as we can, we're gonna get a precision leveling contractor in there to do a cut and fill sheet. And then after that, we're gonna do some precision leveling. I wanted to mention that our stewardship committee, Forest Stewardship Committee, John's on that as well, met, and we selected a Forest Steward of the Year for 2025. And it's Pamela and Jim Jolly. Coincidence. But they own a tract, and it's called the Patton Tree Farm. It's named after Pamela's father, and her father was a conservationist. And it's in Yellville, and it's about 30 miles southwest of Russellville. And so it's 222 acres. And they have about 90 acres of hardwood plantation and 46 acres of pine plantation. And then the rest, 90 acres. And then the remaining is 86 acres of bottomland hardwood. And so they've been managing their tract for timber and wildlife as their objectives. And they've been doing this for 13 years under the stewardship plan. And this is a certified tree farm. It's also certified under the stewardship program as well. And then in 2020, it was selected to be the tree farm of the year. So this was, we were glad to be able to select them and Jim Jolly. Also, the stewardship committee voted to adjust the pay for the consulting foresters. We have consulting foresters that write stewardship plans. And so we've had the same amount, which was $4 per acre since the 1990s. And the recommendation was to adjust it to $5 an acre with a $500 minimum. And this was done because we wanted to maintain the consulting community's interest in writing our plans. Their costs have gone up, and so they need to be adjusted.
Is that amount gonna entice any to do this rather than you having to beg them to do it, or will the raise mean anything? Because this division writes most of the plan, I think.
We use a lot of consultants.
Okay, so y'all use consultants, okay. So will the raise get people, will they feel better about doing it, is what I'm trying to ask.
It'll make it a little more interested. I mean,
Okay.
our costs have gone up so much that, you can't do a full diet of it, you go broke, but.
And you're just catching up then.
Yeah, it's helping, yes.
Thank you.
And this week, we got a new drone. It's a fixed wing drone. And it's over there on the back table. And David Blythe is our forest health specialist. And he's gonna be flying the drone a lot.
Around the room.
Yeah, around the room. And I wanted to see if he could tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so this is the Gen 2 drone from Wingtra. Wingtra is a drone specialty company out of Switzerland. This is a mapping specialty drone. Almost everything it does is automated. You set up your flight plan on this little tablet here connected to the drone, and it goes up and does everything on its own, comes back. You can load your data up to your computer. This is in compliance with the Department of Defense Blue List and state regulations. So this is a drone that keeps us in compliance for the knowable future. I think it'll have a lot of applications, obviously for forest health, that's who purchased it. But outside of that, I think it'll be great for looking at management plans, monitoring our nurseries, and I think it'll also have a great role in post-fire mapping assessment. Yeah, that's our new drone.
Yeah, we currently have drones in each district that have thermal cameras on them that we can use on fires if we want to identify hot spots and things like that, to do back burns and whatnot, particularly at night. This drone right now has an RGB camera on it, and we're probably going to look at adding a thermal to it as well. So just incorporate more technology into forest health, wildfire, and forest management all of it. Thanks, David.
Well, go ahead.
Jim, I've got a question. Go back on our seedling report. And we have more orders than we have seedlings on hardwood, especially in certain.
Notice that.
I'm almost a math teacher, so.
I'm glad you asked that question.
So, if the inventory is right, if there's a margin of error with the inventory, I know. Is it basically that folks that have orders, if they wait to the last minute to plant, are they ones that maybe don't have the pick of the seedlings they want, or maybe not have availability at the end of the season? Or how does somebody that places an order, how do they get ranked in that? Is it the first come, first serve and picking up their orders?
Right, so it would be first come, first served, but then what we do is try to look at other nurseries. There's one in Missouri, We draw on sometimes when we don't have enough, or we don't have a failure in some area, or in the case of Burrow, that's what happened. But, they bring some down here, and then we were able to fulfill that order. The worst case scenario is we, push it off till next year and promise we'll get, some more next year. And then, or even worse than that would be just refunding their money, so.
So how many, in the last several years, how many orders have we not been able to fill for not having enough trees? I mean, we're doing expansion to be able to increase our capacity.
It's actually not a big occurrence. It can happen for particular species.
Okay.
But overall, it doesn't happen that much. And James has a really good relationship with other nurseries, and they'll lean on us, we'll lean on them. And a lot of times we can.
So we can sell some surplus to them, or we can get some of their surplus.
Trade-offs.
Okay.
Any more questions for Jim? Glad you're paying attention, John. I noticed that myself. I didn't want to ask that question and get Jim off track at the beginning.
And Kyle had a few comments as well.
Yeah, so Chandler's not here today. He's on vacation. They were supposed to go to a national park out in California. I think they're still gonna get to go, so that's cool. But anyway, so we have a couple of state-led cost share programs that Chandler's leading, and of course, everybody knows Chandler does a terrific job for us. We have the Southeast Arkansas Hardwood Reforestation Program, and that is to assist particularly that southeast corner of counties with the pines that have been damaged or injured over the past few years, and it's for landowners that do have damaged trees and they want to come back with a hardwood species or some group of hardwood species on those sites. We have $2.5 million that we received through a grant to do that. And we're taking applications for that now. I think we will start awarding applications in November, if I remember. The Southern Pine Beetle Program is one we do every year through our assistance from the Forest Service. And it's a program that assists landowners and harvesters in thinnings, the first thinnings operations on pine stands. As we know, that's really important right now. The landowners are really hurting because of the market situation of demand for small diameter material. And so it doesn't solve the entire problem, but it's a tool that can help in those scenarios. And then we also have a partner-led cost share program. We're partnering with the Arkansas Timber Producers Association. We received the award for the temporary bridge program. And this will assist harvesters in obtaining temporary bridges for harvest sites. And that was a program that used to be around before I was state forester. And I'm glad we're able to get that back in place. We've had a lot of interest from harvesters around the state that's a really good program. And what it will do is cost share them. In the past program, we actually leased the bridges to the harvesters, and I wasn't a big fan of that. So in this program, we will cost share to a harvester so they can purchase the 75% cost share so they can purchase their own bridge teams. So want to thank Larry and the guys at ATPA for working with us on that. So got some good things going on cost share wise.
How much do we have on the pine, southern pine field?
They upped it this year. Usually it's about 150,000, and I think they added another 100,000 to it. So I think it's 200. Or no, they added another 100. It's about 300,000. So yeah, it would be nice if it was more.
Okay, Robert, now that you got your instructions, come on up, tell us about it.
That's good information.
Sorry, man.
That's okay.
He said, "Don't say that."
Yeah, don't say it like that. You can't say that.
Well, it happened. Start out with a little bit of a wildfire report, and as you look at the slide, you might notice that I messed up. Nobody caught it either, so
So I got some busy editing numbers. I forgot to change the months, but this is the July, August and September numbers, not May, April, May and June. So, but we did have a little bit of activity in August. I actually burned about 1,000 more acres in August than what our 10-year average is. And it pushed our total for the quarter up, as far as acres burned over the 10-year average. But, had a few more fires and a few more acres burned in August, had a fairly active August. But, since August, it's kind of slowed down a little bit. Right about the time we started to decided it was about time to put the seats on, it started raining and it's kind of, it hasn't picked that back up since, but we'll see how the next few months go. October and November are typically pretty dry months, and the seasonal temperature and precipitation outlooks for our area and for the most of the nation is predicted to be a warmer winter with a little bit less than average rainfall. Now, the good thing about this time of year is when it does get dry, until we get a frost, it doesn't tend the fuels don't tend to cure out like they do during the summertime. In August, when it's 100 degrees by 9:30, seems like, and doesn't cool off till 9:30 at night, the fuels dry out much quicker when we get as dry as we have been. So with the cooler temperatures and less daylight, we don't dry out as fast. So until we get a frost, I don't foresee a whole lot of problems in the near future. Now, I do think there are some places in the state that are a little drier than others, but right now, I think overall in the whole state, I think we're in pretty decent shape for this time of the year. But we'll see how the next few weeks progress as we get through October and into November. And talking to Mr. Ray right before the meeting, and I do remember having seats on in December, and the largest fire I've been on in my career, 21 years, happened on January the 6th, and the creeks were all dry, and we were in a pretty good drought then. So just because it's not historical or when our normal things happen, we all know how normal goes these days anyway. So we'll just be prepared and wait and see how things go. For equipment report, we have had some success. We've got 2 dozers ordered that are supposed to be in any day now. One was actually supposed to be in September, but I'm guessing it didn't make it because they never called me. So I'm gonna call and check on it and try to check on them next week. But we had one was supposed to be in September, one supposed to be in November. And the 6 transports that we've been trying to order for a while, they're actually supposed to do the bid opening today over at OSP. So we'll see what the results from that was. And hopefully get some transports ordered in the very near future. We were able, last month, I believe, Darren was able to pick up a couple 3/4 ton pickups. OSP gave us permission to go off contract and bid them out ourselves, and we were able to get a couple pickups, and it worked out really well. We were able to buy the 3/4 ton pickups cheaper than we've been able to buy 1/2 ton pickups. And I think it took 2 days to get them there and something like that. So ordered them one day and they came in like 2 days later. They were trucks they had sitting on the lot. They were trying to get rid of the older body styles or older year models. So they sold them to us pretty cheap and got rid of them pretty fast. We have 10 pickups, I think, in grant dollars right now that we're looking to try to order. We're waiting on DF&A or OSP. We're waiting on them to release the new state vehicle contract for this fiscal year. That's supposed to happen any week now. And once they get that released, then we'll be able to start ordering pickups and get that process going. We have about 6 dozers in grant money right now that we're gonna try to order pretty quick as well. We're going to the legislature next month to ask for additional appropriations for those grant dollars to be spent. And the same with the transport. So we'll have to go before the legislature next month for the actual
to get more appropriation to get those purchased. So hopefully that'll get moving pretty quick as well. And then, for a loan report, we did have two loans over this last quarter, just a little over $16,000, in VFD loans for a couple different things. One other thing on the loans, this last legislative session, there was a bill passed. So in the legislation, it's always said that the loan had to be paid back in 3 years. And there was a bill that passed this last legislative session, that extended that to 5 years. So with the extension to 5 years, there's been some requests to increase the amount of money that we've been loaning out. We've had a cap of $15,000, and this is a number that's just set through policy by us. We've had a cap of $15,000. We looked at the account with Anusa, and we're gonna try to increase that. We're gonna increase it to, I think we talked about going to $20,000 first, the first year, and then maybe look at in the coming years to increase a little bit more. We don't wanna go so big that we put the account in danger of not being able to sustain itself, because it's a revolving account. The money that goes out is money that's coming back in, so we want to make sure that we manage that account so that we're always have money to loan out to the fire departments. But we are gonna try to, we are going to increase to $20,000 in the next quarter, I guess, to try to help the fire departments out. Everybody knows everything's going up, so increase the amount of money that they can borrow, and then they'll have 5 years to pay it back now.
Robert, it was really, we're trying to get it, basically looking at it as $5,000 per year.
Right.
Which gets accepted, but that's what it was previously.
Right, and that's where we're gonna shoot for, but we wanna do it incrementally so that we make sure we don't put that account in jeopardy of overextending itself. So,
What is the source of income for that money?
so it's an account that was set up, I believe back in the 80s, when that program started. That's got like 600,000 in it. Is that right?
It's just maybe just a repayment.
Yeah, it's
a revolving fund.
$600,000 put in it, and we loan out the $15,000 to the fire departments, and then the money they pay back goes back into that account, and just keeps rotating it.
Just roughly, what's the balance in the account?
A little bit over 400,000.
Yeah, just over $400,000.
So you loan a lot for a long time before you run out.
As long as everybody pays back.
Yeah, kind of like Social Security, you know, as long as you pay.
So it's a no interest loan, so we don't charge any kind of interest or anything
No
like
interest
that.
loan.
It's 0% interest.
It's a really nice program.
It is a nice program. It helps some.
Yeah.
It's helpful for the fire department.
Yeah, those fire departments, I mean, you can see they buy all kinds of stuff, like the fire department there, Lake Eagle, and both of those departments, they're trucks that they got through the federal access program, through us, and then they borrow the money to refurbish them and get them fixed up, and then they can pay that back over 3 years with no interest. So, and it's paid quarterly, usually is how their payment plans are set up. But yeah, we can, you know, the balance fluctuates depending on how much business we have. I mean, so we just want to make sure we make sure we take care of it and don't overextend. So we'll see how this year goes, and then we'll try to go up again next year. Any questions for me?
Have we ever turned anybody down?
Not to my knowledge.
In about 8 years. So basically, we're servicing the people that are requesting it.
Now they are required to have, I believe, a 10% down payment. So whatever they loan, they have to have 10% of that down. So, you know, we don't loan them with 0% down, but we do require, I think it's 10% down, and then all that. But to my knowledge, we haven't turned anyone down that had a legitimate request anyway.
Questions for Robert?
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Derek? How are you today?
Good. So, well, I just had a few updates for what's going on out there in the districts. This quarter, we, as a time of year, we help out a lot of, county fairs and festivals. We've participated in 23 of those this quarter, and, we've constructed 27 miles of fire lanes. Provided 241 management plans. A lot of those are for the Conservation Reserve Program this time of year. And provided technical assistance to over 900 landowners with a total of 67,000 acres. Something I don't talk about a whole lot is, we spend a lot of time, we got aging equipment out there, and, we spend a lot of time, our rangers, working on the equipment, keeping them ready to go for emergency response, but, I think, to replace a sprocket and idle on a dozer, I believe we save about 5,000 every time we do that in labor versus taking somewhere and having it done. So, there's a lot of time spent on maintenance and just want to recognize our folks, and gotta be jack of all trades working with forestry. Want to highlight a project we've been helping on, the floods up at Hardy. The District 3 crew has been working, helping clean up Spring River Park, got it looking pretty good. And also working at Ash Flat, doing some burning from the tornadoes and stuff that's got piled up there. One thing on the districts, we're actually interviewing some architectures next week. Working on we're gonna build a new office at District 2 at Dirks. So kind of keeping progress going on that. It's like architecture next week. Well, Poison Springs, we've done well. We're over 85% with all the timber harvest this year. We had our SFI audit and no significant findings. And we completed a spraying site prep for 386 acres when we planned this winter. So I have.
Going back to the equipment. Yes. Do we do all the lubrication and do we have a schedule or maintaining those vehicles other than just when it's broke?
Oh, yeah, vehicle.
It's kind of like your rifle. If you don't take care of it, it won't take care of you, right? Okay, so that's the attitude we have?
Yes, we have maintenance logs.
Okay.
And we have a position that's dedicated to making sure all of that takes place.
In the district? Okay, good.
You mentioned, fairs and festivals. I just want to commend our Grant County crew and part of Saline. Last weekend was Timberfest in Sheridan. We have a big lumberjack championship. Next year will be the 30th year we've done that, and they've been involved in it almost the whole time. It'd be hard to do what we do without their help. So it's very much appreciated.
Thanks.
Questions for Darren? Thank you, Darren. Hey, how are you? We're going to start some more fires, so you'll have something to post.
Have a brief report. Press releases, I actually added one more than what's in your report. October 1st, we sent out our press release we do every year announcing the Rural Fire Show. And then like Kyle was talking about the new hardwood reforestation program, we put out a press release on that just to get the word out. And then the stop application period, we do that every year. Sent that out at the end of August. And I did want to just mention, we got quite a bit of media coverage from that. You can see up there, Chrissy Kimbrough, the Urban and Community Forestry Coordinator. She went on Channel 7. We also got a record number of applications for the stop program, 157. And I think a lot of that is due to the increased media coverage. And then you can see on social media, we had 711 shares on that social media post. So 260 likes. We got a lot of interaction on that. And then the last press release we sent out was the Wildland Fire Suppression Kit application period. That's another one that we do every year. And that was at the beginning of August. And then one big project that I worked on the last quarter was the new website. We did a complete update of our website. I don't know if you've noticed that or not. But that was finalized at the end of August. Some key new features. We have drop-down navigation lists from the top, so it makes it a little bit easier for people to find what they're looking for. And then a dedicated section for payments, licenses, and permits. And then like Tom was talking about earlier, with the registered foresters, that's just right in that drop down, so it's easy to find. We also have an online services carousel, a public notices section, and we also have the capability to add timely ribbon alerts. So I think that will be helpful when wildfire season picks up, and it'll help us get information out to people in a timely manner. So that concludes my report. I'm happy to take any questions.
So I've got one comment on the website. The website's been a big improvement. One opportunity is, and I know where I was looking, trying to find the district offices to help each other time available, but wasn't a district map that was with all the district personnel. And if there might be a map that can be put on that page, just to help folks know, it lists all the district personnel, but it doesn't show you who's in charge of what. And their districts, our districts are, the general public wouldn't know where the districts lines are. Just a way for opportunity for improvement.
That's very helpful. Thank you. We want the website to be a tool for everyone. That's one of the first things Secretary Ward said when I started here about a year and a half ago. So Abe done a fantastic job taking this on. Nobody could find anything prior. It has gotten much better, but when y'all see things, I think y'all would be really helpful at helping us get it right. So if you could just, when you see issues, email them into Kyle or Aiden or me or whoever. And that's kind of our goal with this new website, is to make it a lot more user friendly, and when you search, for it to be a helpful tool and not a virtual document. So help us all you want, please. And then also thank you just to Aiden. She really took this on and has done a fantastic job. And it is a lot prettier, but we also think it's a lot prettier.
Yeah, and I'll just say, Aiden may not have been giving herself enough credit, particularly on the stop program. The marketing on that this year was outstanding. Just kudos to you guys for that. I just want to give Chrissy credit. Chrissy did a tremendous job on that interview. Saw it. Thank you.
Thank you. Human resources report.
Oh, that's me, isn't it?
That's you. And you got a handout.
Yeah.
He handed a sheet out on, it's got the personnel report for the district.
It's not in the folder.
It was a loose leaf handed.
That's it. Just the one page and not a whole lot to it. So yeah, we kind of gone to this. This is a summary. You used to get a spreadsheet that had all the Paula stocks on it, and there was a lot going on there. So I wanted to make things a little more concise and hopefully flow a little better for us. So currently the Forestry Division has 229 filled positions. We are at 81% district level forester positions filled. So we have about 7 vacancies there. 81% of our forest ranger positions are filled. That's about 135 rangers that are filled. District 2 continues. We're still working through, with the pay plan. We had to go through some processes with OPM and different entities around the state to get things back in order so we could advertise positions, and we're getting there on that now. District 2 is still below our 70% target, but we have hired a county forest ranger in Sevier County. So we did add one there, and we're interviewing for 2 forester positions, one in Sevier and one in Polk currently. So we're glad to get the advertisements back up and running. We have 5 total positions advertised right now, and I have 3 more that we're about to pursue. Again, we hired that county ranger. We've also hired a forester for Izard County to service North Arkansas from a forestry and wildfire perspective. And then we have a Ranger 1 that we're interviewing right now in Miller County. And I wanted to point out the Ranger 1, one of the things that we're incorporating with the new pay plan is for our entry level positions like the Ranger 1. we are going to increase the physical fitness requirement for those positions. And so in the past, they would just take the basic test, which is 1 mile and 16 minutes walking. You can't run, you have to walk. We're gonna move that to the moderate, where they have to wear a 25-pound pack and do, Robert, correct me on this, it's 2 miles and 25 minutes with a 25-pound.
30 minutes.
30 minutes with a 25-pound pack.
Yes, sir.
So ramping it up just a little bit and trying to get more in line with some of the federal guidelines on firefighters and other states as well. We did fill a dispatch position at Malvern, so we're well staffed at dispatch right now to handle anything that comes in on that. So that's all I have on HR. Any questions on positions?
How many retirements are you maybe expecting in the next, 12 to 24 months?
Right. When I first got here, we had quite a few retired. They had 35, 40 years in, that type thing. And here recently, that's the 3 I mentioned we're about to advertise. 2 of those are retirements, the guys that have been here for 40 years. We've been through a lot of that, was my point though. And so there's trade-offs. You're getting a younger, theoretically more fit person in that position, but you're also losing a lot of knowledge, particularly in the firefighting position.
I was wondering if we were gonna have another wave of retirements,
Right.
have no turnover.
I don't think so. There'll be probably just some scattered. I don't have a good number for you on that, but I know when I first got here, there was a lot of people that have been here for a long time and checked out. Hopefully it wasn't because of me. They were like, get out of here before you fired. But anyway, no, so that brings up a good point, and that's why our fire staff has worked hard to make sure that we are ramping up our training, because we are losing a lot of institutional knowledge of people do. So,
Will the hires in the Southwest get you up to the 70%?
So we have 4 advertised right now. Then we're gonna add 1 more out of this 3, so it'll be 5. It'll get us closer. I don't think
Is it just hard to find people applying?
Well, that part of the state is difficult to fill positions. I'm hopeful the pay plan is gonna help a lot with that. That was always a huge hurdle, was in that part of the state, there's other industry.
Yeah.
And so they could find jobs doing other things. With the new pay plan in place, I feel like we're much more competitive.
I know Representative Ball keeps asking me.
Yes. We're working as hard as we can.
All right, anything else?
That's all I have.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members. On the Forestry Division Financial Report for the period ending September 30th, 2025. For the first quarter financial report, the division finished with $5,426,518 in operating cash balance. Compared to the July 1 when we started the fiscal year, that is the net increase of about $1 million. Total resources provided between July 1 to September 30th totaled up to $11,495,837 or $6,564,753 dollars in cash, reserve plus $4,931,074. Revenues collected between July 1 and September 2025. Excuse me. And this is just a summary of the first page of the financial report. Timber and severance taxes amount comparable to the year before around the same time. And again, historically, our first quarter has always been, in terms of revenue collection, our lowest. So going into the second quarter, of fiscal year 2026, we should see those numbers improve. Again, with the first quarter being 25% of the budget fiscal year, so far, less than 25%, of the budget's been used up. And again, we'll keep an eye on our fund balance. As far as operations, I don't see any issues, so operation will continue as planned. Included also in your report is the nursery report, which is the financial report, page 10. Love. As you can see on the nursery report for the period ending June 30, 2025, total resources provided total 166,000. And we reported net revenue between July 1 and September. We reported $111,296 with total cash expenditures at $167,781. As you can see, we came only $832 shy of breaking even for the first quarter on the nursery report. The last report is the registration for Forestry. Not a whole lot to report on the financial, as you can see, both resources provided between July 1 and September 30. We reported 143,000 in total resources, with expenditures totaling just $100, leaving 142,995 in cash reserve, which is a good position to be in going into the second quarter of this year 2026. That concludes the financial report. Overall, I think we're looking pretty good going into the second quarter of fiscal year.
Thank you. And not to beat the nursery to death, but I'll just make an observation. Since we've got more orders than we've got inventory projected, I'd hate for us to be buying seedlings and selling them at a cheaper price, because that's what we committed to. I know we want to fill orders, but if that wouldn't look smart to anybody in this room. So I just want to make sure that y'all are thinking from a business standpoint. And I know we want to fill orders. So anyway, and I know we would never do that, but I just want to bring it up. So Frank asked me to bring that up.
Well, sometimes those will be swaps, because we may be shy on one species, that's in another nursery.
So the concept is don't buy something and sell it for less.
Oh, I know that.
Okay.
Anusa, I've got a question just out of my ignorance. On the severance tax, is that severance tax, I guess it's self-reported by the mills that comes in? And is that on the gross tonnage that comes in, or is that the tonnage after deducts that come in on the severance tax? And then also, is there an audit process that we ever audit any of the mills, on any of that?
As far as audit on the mills, I'm not aware that we're conducting any audits.
There is, they have audited, I don't know who does the auditing. The Department of Finance Administration, I guess it is, but there are audits on, we've had, kind of comes in spurts, but, 2-3 years ago, there was, I think probably every mill got audited. And it is on, audit is usually on ton paid for. So if it deducts, would not be.
It should be on the net, not on the gross.
Yes, it's determined at the last time the timber was weighed prior to undergo first processing of the severance.
So that'd be across the scale.
Yeah, but I was wondering, a lot of loads will get a small deduct up there, and I didn't know, if that was before or after that deduct, so.
Yeah, it's
Frank, that's
Whatever paid
exactly-
for it,
Yeah, it is.
But they're still using it, they're still consuming it.
depending on the deal.
Most time it's not. Most time it ends up waste. If you come look at my waste pile, you'll see it's a lot more than we deduct. But it's and I think that's basically only, certainly on hardwood mills, I'm assuming pine is somewhat similar to that.
Okay, anything else?
I just want to thank Anusa. You hear me talk about the pay plan and all, that doesn't just happen. And you have to make sure you're not overextending yourself and all of those things and promising employees things that you can't deliver on. And Anusa has done a tremendous job leading us through that. So just want to thank you, Anusa.
And us paying for it. I mean, we got a new pay plan, but we have to pay for it out of existing resources. Right. I mean, that's the connection there, right? Okay. All right. Okay, Kyle. Okay, the forestry report.
All right. Well, making you guys out of here early today. We didn't have we did go over timber theft, but we didn't have a big program review like we usually do. And wanted to keep things a little shorter today because we do have to do an election of officers here in a little bit. So I'll just start with, I just want to thank Governor Sanders again and Secretary Ward for their continued support, forestry and wildfire response in Arkansas. But both you and the governor understand the importance of what we do to the state. And also just want to thank our AFC members here. Nobody takes time to say thank you for taking time out of your schedules to come in here and listen to us and I wouldn't say pick us apart, but ask good pertinent questions and that type of thing and keep us in line. So just appreciate you and your efforts, and particularly those on the Register Foresters Committee, because you're having to meet twice every quarter to do that. And we have some changes that are going to be coming to the Register Foresters Committee here in a little bit. And again, just want to thank you for your service to us. So far this season, we've had a slow fire season. And this is one of the other reasons this is a little shorter, is this is probably the most quiet quarter that I've had since I've been state forester. And so I'm kind of enjoying the break a little bit. But having said that, looking at the weather and looking at Robert's forecast, we can see we're going to have some dry conditions for a few weeks. And so it wouldn't surprise me if we don't see some fires start popping up around the state. Talking about social media and marketing, we'll probably put some things out on, the weather conditions and being cautious about running and whatnot going forward. Right, Aiden? We are continuing to have ongoing discussions with the U.S. Forest Service about potential for us to do things under the shared stewardship agreement and under the Good Neighbor Authority agreement, ways that we might be able to expand that without hurting our functions here to the state. And supposed to have some meetings with Dan Olson, the forest supervisor for the Ouachita Ozark National Forest in a few weeks. And we're also working on getting Chief Schultz to meet with me and Secretary Ward and some others. He's supposed to visit with us very soon and would like to meet with us. So, we have 2.5 million acres of forest, national forest land in the state. And we want to make sure that we have a good relationship and a good partnership with them, because they're a tremendous partner to us in many ways. As I stated earlier, we're getting positions advertised and we're filling those. So starting to get that train moving again. I feel really good about where we're headed with that. We are very competitive now, particularly with the foresters and the wildfire and the rangers and firefighters. I saw a report the other day, it was in the media, on California. They start their rangers out at around 52 or 53,000, and ours are starting out at 47 here in Arkansas. That's pretty good. If 52,000 doesn't go a long ways, in California does. I feel really good about that. Making strides on response equipment purchases, as Robert stated. We are moving forward on getting bulldozers. It's kind of a slow moving train. We get the processes internally here that we work on. And then once you get the order to the corporation, they're not the fastest in turning those back around to us, and I don't know why there's a delay on their end, but oftentimes it can take 6 or 7 months for them to get us a dozer after we. Again, we sold out of ceilings, as we talked about today. That's a good problem to have, and it justifies the expansion work we're doing out there. And there'll always be some shortfall that occurs because we grow so many different species out there. We grow over 40 tree species at the nursery. And so not all of those are going to germinate the way they should. And some of those will get predation and that type of thing. And so there's always going to be certain species we have issues with. But James does a wonderful job of navigating that and making sure that that our customers are as happy as we possibly make them. We're planning timber harvest at Poison Springs State Forest and Hot Springs State Forest this coming season. We'll have our first timber harvest at Hot Springs State Forest. The guys are marking that right now as we speak. Our partnerships there are expanding and doing well. Game and Fish is now overseeing hunting. The bow season has started on Hot Springs State Forest, and there'll be a youth modern gun hunt there. Would that be the first weekend in November there? I think it's the first weekend in November that'll occur. They're also going to have squirrel, rabbit, quail. I don't think there's any quail out there, but if you can find one, you can go hunt it.
Alligator season is Cloven County.
Yeah, no alligator hunting. No. But we're also working with Park Heritage and Tourism on the trails aspects of utilizing the ANCRC funds. Jim's working with, supposed to meet with them next week on assisting us in getting the trails updated out there. So a lot of good partnerships working with the state forest. And one of the things I wanted to do when I first got here, because of my background, was increase our demonstration and educational opportunities on the state forest. And I've been really so busy just for me to get up to speed. And we've had a lot of stuff occur over the last 2 years with fires and legislative items and everything else. We're working on getting demonstration in place. Particularly at Poison Springs right now, working with the Nature Conservancy and Game and Fish. But that's something that hopefully going forward, I can spend a little more time on myself because I'm such a fascinating. But overall, I'm just really happy with where we are and be glad to take any questions.
Thank you. Well, like Aiden, Powell's not giving himself enough credit, but if all of us around this table would stop and think from becoming a part of the Division of Agriculture. And again, Secretary Ward, I want to personally thank you for the way you have brought us in and made us feel like we are part of the Division of Agriculture. And that wouldn't have been possible without someone like you in your position. And it's been, quite frankly, a great transition. And then we've replaced a state forester and a deputy state forester. And quite frankly, with two great people that are doing a great job. Okay, we do great work in this division, and we serve the public. And that's why it's easy to be a commissioner. That's why it's easy to be an ambassador for forestry. That's what all we do. And I would just tell everybody around this table, not everybody knows what these people do. So that's what we do, is tell our neighbors and friends what's going on at the Forestry Commission, because we save the state's resources, whether they're private or whether they're public, and that's important. And if you don't think so, just wait. You almost burned the town of Ola down with a fire. And if it hadn't been for the Forestry Commission, Ola would have burned down about 6-7 years ago, because it was coming right at it. Okay, and looks like the neighborhood out in California that burned down. Just think about a community looking like that. So you want to think about what we do and why it's important. So I just wanted to add to your look back. Okay, I've got two orders of business. One is I want to make 2 appointments to the Registered Foresters Committee. And those 2 appointments would be Scott Meek and Mary Cloud. So if y'all consider yourself part of that committee, Sal. Okay. Thanks. All right. Since we're friendly, I'm not going to ask the candidates to leave the room, but you can remember who don't vote for you. So, but this is my last meeting as chair. And as our past, John is vice chair. The way the system's set up, John should become chair if elected. And then George is the next person in line. Okay, so the candidates are John as chair, and George Dunklin as vice chair. So y'all want to ask our candidates any questions before we have a vote?
So I get to ask John questions now.
So I would say all in favor of John becoming chair of the Forestry Commission and George becoming vice chair. Could I get you to signify by saying aye? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, gentlemen, you're duly elected and January will be your first meeting. The meeting dates for 2026, and we set the dates now for the year so that this room can get reserved. So if y'all will either write these down, and so we continue to do it on the Friday in a month where Anusa would be able to have the financials. So the dates that Kyle and I have worked on are January the 23rd, April the 24th, July 24th, and October 23rd. Those are Fridays at 10 a.m. And at this time, they're all in Little Rock unless y'all decide to do something different. All right. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to discuss today? Oh, I will tell you, I'm spending some time over in Mississippi around Mississippi State University and had lunch with the Dean of Forest Resources over there recently. And he's beginning to see enrollment increase in forestry. And he said that they never seen a real sharp decline, but it slacked off a little bit, but he's seeing it pick back up, which I consider good news. But every dean over there is worried about the quote enrollment cliff, that whereas the number of students coming out of high school going to possibly that could go to college, the numbers are declining just because of birth rates. So every college is looking at an enrollment cliff. And then so every school inside the college is fighting for the same person. Okay, because they all get graded on how many customers they have, how many students they have. And then the other thing, our smallwood problem, not going to get any easier. So I'm sitting in Starkville. I listened to the local news. If you remember the Newsprint South mill that got built in Grenada, Mississippi. Okay, they just shut it down. Okay, not even talking about converting it, not even thinking about converting it. Quote, shut it down. And that would be considered a relatively modern mill. And it was using all pine pulpwood. It was one of the first newsprint mills to ever use pine pulpwood to produce newsprints. So our challenge with small wood is not going to get any easier because that's a small wood user. It doesn't affect necessarily these markets, but every piece of small wood that doesn't get used affects somebody somewhere. So anyway, for what it's worth.
Do they still have their Wood Magic program? Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not familiar with it.
They had a trailer set up like a racing trailer. We brought them over here. It was an excellent education.
From
Mississippi State.
Okay,
I was their extension.
Yeah, Dan Seal at the time.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure they still do.
Yeah.
All right, anybody got anything else?
I just hate David wasn't here to hear you talk about Mississippi State. He loves us.
That's one of the benefits of being chair. All right, anybody got anything else? Well, lunch is not here. You're welcome to stay and wait for lunch or whatever.
If someone wants to go to lunch, we'll certainly go. But, that will be something we're gonna start our meetings at, glad you said that. We're gonna start our meetings at 9:30 if everyone's in agreement, starting next year. Just trying to tighten the belt a little bit, so, in more than one way.
So no lunch. 9:30 and no lunch, is that what you're gonna do? So you just got a pay cut, so. And that was John, that's under, that.
I will
next year for.
I will promise donuts though. How about that?
Oh, yeah. 9:30, no lunch, all right. So is lunch ordered today or not? Oh, so there is no lunch, I'm sorry, okay.
But I'll be glad to go to lunch if anybody's.
Be glad to go to lunch, but he don't buy. Just go. All right, anything else?
Ray, we thank you for your service.
It's
It's terrible.
it's
Great
been an
job.
honor and a privilege, and,
I know I said this last meeting, but I do want everybody to know, it was a big transition for me to come from research and extension into this role, more than I ever even realized, and, it's a big job, and of course, Joe was always there for me to call and lean on, and Secretary Ward's always been there when I needed. But Ray and I were able to establish a really good relationship, and he served in a way that wasn't overbearing. He helped me when I needed help, and I really appreciate the guidance that you've helped give me over these last 2 years.
well, it's just, he's easy to guide. So he's the right person, he's knowledgeable. We couldn't have found a better person to fill this role.
Amen.
And, we're proud of what everybody does. And, I'm just proud to be in the room. All right?
And he's not leaving, he's gonna stay on the commission, but yeah.
No, I'm not leaving, assuming I get reappointed.
Yes, sir.
You know, we all know how that process is. All right, anything else?
Okay.
All right, gentlemen and ladies, have a nice day.